It sounds like too good to be true.
Which came to us and said, guys, can you build a marketplace for 1 week?
It was also kind of like a Wild West. Do you remember?
Yeah, it's checked and verified.
Checked
by
and verified on the highest level.
Yeah.
How would you explain it to your mom or your even granny?
It was like a love from first login, or how to say it.
In any gold rush, the most profitable way is to build and sell shovels. Greeting, guys. Thanks for joining us on today's podcast about no code, where me, Andrew from Sommo, and
me, Roman, will help you understand no code better, and we will address all the questions we typically receive from clients.
We both with Roman have a pretty decent experience in traditional code, being developers ourselves, and then building Sommo as a no-code studio for more than 3 years together. It's been amazing years, yeah, Roman?
Yeah, it was for a while. Personally, I love no-code and how we changed our expertise from traditional code development to the no-code, and it was kind of...
It was eye-opening. Yeah, I cannot agree more. And the value that we saw, that we got for ourselves and for our clients, it's been staggering. So we had our fair share of experience in different worlds, both traditional code and no code. So let's dive deeper and see how you might leverage this field and benefit from it.
When we have started no code development in 2021, it was pretty nice at that point, and were allowing you to build a lot of amazing stuff.
But it was also kind of like a Wild West. Do you remember? With very little tools and with very little communities and the know-how on how to actually do anything. So it was kind of exploring on your own most of the way.
Yeah. And like our first project was kind of funny. We were working on the some marketplace for influencers. So we had a client from our traditional code studio, which came to us and said, guys, can you build a marketplace for 1 week? And we said, okay, challenge accepted.
That's right.
Yeah. And start researching different tools. And at that point, we found Bubble. And it was like kind of looking interesting and allowed at that point us to build a pretty standard stack of features for marketplace. And yeah, we did it not for 1 week, but for 2, I guess.
Yeah, in less than 2 weeks, we, without actually prior experience in no code, were able to start our first project, launch it, and it was successful, got users, got traction, and we validated all our hypotheses that we wanted to do with by spending so little effort on it. That's when we became no-code evangelists, and started promoting it all over the world. So if you're not on no-code yet, I hope at the end of this episode you will become an evangelist like we do. But Roman, so what is actual no-code? How would you explain it to your mom or your even granny?
I would say that no code is something like taking puzzles and bringing it all together in building some software. And no code is something about the visual development and all. It has like a ton of pre-built components, templates, and different solutions that you can take together and build some unique software products.
So in other ways, it's kind of like a visual way of building modern functional websites and application in just a faster, more intuitive, simpler, and more agile way. Compared to traditional code. And why it's better?
You just mentioned it, you said about the speed. So speed of development nowadays is like very important. The world is like changing very fast, and you need to make sure that your business and your software is up to date and providing the best experience to your customers. And so no code is something about saving time, which allowing you to have the shorter user feedback loop. You can iterate faster, experiment with some features, and something like that.
Okay, so speed is indeed one of the top qualities or top go-to reasons why people jump to no code. And we indeed receive lots of requests and clients. Hey guys, I have this idea. Can you launch it in a few weeks or in a few months? Sometimes these requests are not very grounded with reality. We cannot, obviously, even in no code, we cannot build you Facebook or Uber in a couple of weeks, but we can build you a lot, and probably much more than you can imagine, in a very short timeline. Okay, so we can move really fast with no code, but I'm going to challenge you. Cannot you move so fast with code? You've been developer yourself. I can also easily go to my code base, change a couple of tags there or flows, and launch, deploy in a couple of minutes as well. So what's the magic pill? What's the magic behind no code?
I think that the big part of no-code tool, they're covering the main problem of the people, that they allowing you to focus on your product directly, but not on like deployment and development. So if you're going with a traditional code, you will start facing with some, which cloud provider I should choose. It should be AWS or G Cloud. So there are like a lot of questions and for you to start. But with no code, you have a tool that just giving you all these tools. You're just focusing on building your product.
So you're saying basically that instead of recreating everything from scratch, like you would from picking the cloud provider to selecting your authorization methods to where you will deploy and how you will distribute your application to your users, traditionally with most of no-code tools, you get it out of the box. The deployment, the scalability, the distribution, and a lot of pre-built flows, like for example, authorization with email, with social providers, Google, Facebook, with phone number, a lot of
everything,
everything, like really everything. So, so it sounds like too good to be true. But can you back it up with some real products or projects launched with no-code stacks that gain significant traction?
So already, if you know, like 500K website was built with a Webflow in 2024, and the big companies are starting using no code also. For example, the General Electrics, which working in the aerospace, power and renewable energy, used to build like over 60 applications with a no code. Also Honeywell, which is operates in some businesses the same as General Electrics. They built over 1,000 apps with a no code.
The enterprises you mentioned are pretty amazing, have achieved pretty amazing result. And if you can imagine how hard it is to iterate and get anything approved in big enterprises, and the fact that they already launched so many different variations is a very significant, I would say, proof that this field is getting traction, right?
Yeah, that's interesting, and also important that like such big corporations, as I mentioned before, they are like pretty big businesses that are focusing mostly on the security and the scalability. So it's very important for them, and they
That's a very good point that you mentioned regarding scalability and security. We'll definitely get to them in more detail since they are one of the most popular questions that we get all the time regarding no code. I just wanted to mention also regarding the traction that the no-code platform, among the most popular ones, which you already mentioned, Webflow as a general website or e-commerce or blog website builder closed massive rounds. The Bubble, Bubble.io, another popular no-code tool that we, by the way, work most of the time, and we don't get paid for this promotion, is just an amazing tool that we love, and we highly recommend you figuring out as well and learning it. They closed 100 million funding round not so far ago in 2021. So as you know, in any gold rush, the most profitable way is to build and sell shovels. So the platforms, no-code platforms, are massively exploiting this opportunity, building new platforms. And when we were exploring and testing different ways of no-code tools and their combinations, we were just we couldn't just go through all of them. And after, I don't know, maybe 50th tool that we tried and tested, we just stopped because there are so many of them. And the interesting part is that the majority of them are really useful in some particular cases. There are, of course, massive leaders, like we mentioned, Bubble and Webflow, that are applicable to almost any project. And there are much more narrow, specialized tools that you can leverage for particular use cases. For example, like Glide for super simple mobile applications, or Stacker for internal company dashboard, or of course popular like Airtable for different forms and tables, etc. Which is your favorite, by the way?
Oh, I like Bubble so much. It's like when we have tried it for third time, like 3 years ago, it was like a love from first login, or how to say it. So also want to mention the Flutter Flow. They're start hyping something like in 2022. As far as I remember, they launched, and for now, it's a really massive tool for building native mobile apps.
I love, from my side, I love probably Webflow the most, because how simple and their platform is, and how beautiful sites you can build easily. You can definitely build beautiful sites with Bubble or other tools as well, but Webflow makes a special focus on building beautiful websites, and it's really hard not to make them beautiful. With their predefined templates and the way it's organized, you get just something at the end. I love how it looks, how easy it is to animate them, and overall manage.
And what about like performance for the Webflow? Like SEO optimization.
Oh, it's amazing! It handles most of the SEO tags, titles, and requirements by Google and other platforms for good ranking. Its performance is not like a top of the top, but it is good, really good, as for the general builder. So you shouldn't have any major problems with, I don't know, 99% of your websites by hosting it on Webflow or even on Wix or any other no-code platform. Which I want to mention again, we don't get paid neither by Webflow nor by Bubble nor and by any other platform. It's just from our honest experience of actually using them.
Yeah, we can actually prove it and hate a bit Bubble.
But we are supposed to promote no code here on this podcast.
Yeah,
what
we're
are you
promoting.
doing? Stop.
There is a space for improving. So as we talked about the Webflow and how they're like amazing in terms of the optimization and the SEO, Bubble at some point their SEO optimization is really bad. And we typically using a stack of Webflow plus Bubble to build the full SaaS products to our customers.
Yeah, that's true. I couldn't agree with you more. Even though we love all of this platform, none of them is a magic bullet for solving all of your questions. And typically you need a combination of a couple of them to build, for example, your SaaS from end to end. From beautiful converting landing, for example, on Webflow, to a nice application on Bubble, then maybe wrapped in natively as a mobile app, for example, and finishing with your admin dashboard, for example, on Retool, let's say. And that can be a typical no-code stack for SaaS startup. So the trend is here. It's been on the market for quite a while and gained a significant popularity boost in about 2020-21, and it's not going anywhere. In recent Gartner report, I read that they predict that by 2026, 75% of new applications in enterprise will be developed on no-code or low-code stack.
Yeah, it's a huge amount.
It's staggering. It will basically means that it will wipe out a lot of previous development positions, and probably many developers will need to get familiar with no-code. Ron, we are lucky that we switched a couple of years ago, and don't fear now that our job will be taken by AI.
So I think it makes sense to continue and talk about more hot topics about the no-code. It's security and scalability.
Why it's so hot?
Because it's the main concern and question from all people that are starting using no-code.
So what is the answer to all of these questions?
Of course it's secure. I can't say anything else, but it really depends on the right choice of the platforms.
So typically the security, what our clients and friends are asking about security, they mean the protection of their data, of their database, where it is stored and who has access to it. So most of major platforms allow you to choose, sometimes by only in higher subscription packages, but overall they do allow you to choose the location of your database, so that you can have it either in the US or in the EU or in Asia, almost anywhere in the world. So you do have the ability to choose where your data is stored, so that you comply, if needed, with applicable laws and regulations regarding GDPR or similar laws in Brazil, California, UK, Switzerland. You got my point.
All other countries.
All over the world and all the other countries. So you do have control over it, right?
Yeah.
Then the access to data. Who has control? Who has access to it, and can you control it? And is the data secured and encrypted of your users and your application?
Yeah, it's a good question. So in the big part of modern no-code development tool, you have an ability to control user accesses to database, run in the secure cloud your code.
Your data is encrypted by default, and no third-party actor can access it from the outside. Only you from inside of your admin or with direct access to the database can read this data, and obviously all the highly sensitive parts like credit cards and password are end-to-end encrypted, and there is no way of this data leaking. And I would say this level of security and protection, because it is built by default and provided out of the box, I would say that it is more secure and reliable way of launching your startup than if you would do it on your own. Because when you do it on your own, typically you don't have time and resources to address all of these topics and issues, just because you simply don't think about them much, or it is not a high priority for you in the beginning. But because if you decide to go with a no-code stack, you get all of these security benefits and package out of the box for a super low price, like $30, sometimes $50, up to $100 per month. And I would say that it is more secure to start your app nowadays in 2024 with no code rather than doing it yourself. And I would bet that it is easier to hack your startup and steal your data if you do it on your own rather than building it on the pre-built stack.
Yeah.
And, this is from accessing your data from the outside. And you mentioned also a good point from accessing your data from the inside. Obviously, you can control with different permission level users in your organization, whether it's just a developer who can has access only to the development or preview version of your database, or if you are like a CTO or CEO of your business who can access the live user data to view, monitor, or your customer support agent who can view and monitor live user data.
The German startup named VShift came to us, I guess, like 2 years ago, and their goal was to build a tool for enterprise businesses to help them create sustainability reports, manage supply chains, do some climate accounting, and project management. And their main goal was to achieve the security of data of their users, because there's like a huge businesses using such tools. Because Bubble with enterprise plan allowing you to store data, as you mentioned, like in any country you want, and they choose that enterprise plan and move forward and store the data only in Germany, because they're working mostly with the Germany companies. And get a really nice feature of fast iteration, and they start development this feature one by one, and in the result raised their first pre-seed round on the $500,000. And yeah, that was a real great experience of how the no-code tools can just like simplify your life and still be secure.
Secure solution.
Yeah.
So, and if big German enterprises are trusting you with their data, and you are still not getting sued, as far as I know, they are not being sued, right?
Yeah.
At least at this point, it means it is definitely
it's checked and verified.
Checked and verified on the highest level.
Yeah.
Probably only GDPR can have any questions, but no one else. GDPR Commission. Okay, nice. And how about the personal identifiable information? If you're talking about the healthcare, the healthcare companies, can you also be, for example, HIPAA compliant and do healthcare applications on a no-code stack, let's say on the Bubble?
Yeah, of course. As we mentioned, like the Bubble community is really huge and great. They're constantly creating some additional tools for Bubble. And we had several requests from our clients to build the HIPAA compliant application. And we found a ton of solutions which allowing you to make the database as a HIPAA compliant. So you basically need to like store encrypted the data, which will be only readable by the user at the end. So no one and me as admin in the database can read it, only the final user. So
you really cannot sneak peek on the personal identifiable information of these users?
No, I can't, because it's like encrypted.
Damn. Yeah, that's true. To be totally transparent, HIPAA Bubble is not HIPAA compliant, at least yet as of 2024, but there are third-party tools. Do you remember the name? I don't.
They didn't pay us.
We can insert this later in the Notion, in the caption to this video, so check it out. But with them, you can add an extra third-party tool and store personal identifiable information there, so that for the users, the experience will be as smooth as on any other application, but just under the hood, some part of the data will be stored on an external database and encrypted in transit, both in transit and in storage, and accessible only by the users themselves when they authorize in the application. So if HIPAA doesn't have questions, GDPR doesn't have questions, German big enterprises don't have questions, so what other security concerns you might have towards no code? I just simply don't understand.
Yeah, there's no questions anymore.
No questions. Okay, check. Let's move forward then to our other dicey points. So the scalability. Can these poor no-code platforms sustain my hypergrowth of the startups to billions or trillions of users?
Yes, we can move forward. Yeah, of course. It's the the biggest, I would say, the question for a startup, like at which point we need to like move out of no code, and we're just saying you don't need because it's like after scalable. So for example, Bubble can hold the infinite amount of the user, especially on their current plan that they have changed. So it's usage based, and you're paying only for what you have used. Before, actually, when the Bubble switched to that pricing, you had some limitation regarding how many users can
total number
reach.
of database records and total number of concurrent users.
But right now, like after the switching, you just covering this whole cost on your own. It can be 1 million users to 10. So there's like.
Are you talking about that pricing update that Bubble community actually hated so much and threatened their founder to kill them?
Yeah, but it was.
Did this succeed, by the way, or not? I hope not.
No one stopped using actually Bubble after this update, but it allowed them to be more scalable
I agree totally. So as you mentioned before, Bubble had some limitations, and the plan designed not for like a really for as high level scalability as it is now. They made an update, and now it is all usage based. And if you have like a few users, you pay like really little prices, and your potential for scalability in terms of both workflows, records, and operations that your application does is literally limitless. Yes, of course, you will need to pay a little bit more as your app scales, but it is definitely not much more than you would pay in AWS for a comparable solution, given that in addition to just database and operations, you have all of this environment of the visual builder, of automatic deployment and the distribution and everything. And I would also say that for a typical project that is starting, building it again, I'm of course biased, but as the same as security, building it on your own stack with code where you manage yourself, the deployment, the database, the server, the locations of servers. When scaling such a product, you would need to scale separately all of these pieces and make sure that they all scale proportionally, and monitor yourself whether maybe you bought to perform on database but not enough performance servers, or vice versa. With going with a no-code stack, especially in the beginning, you have it out of the box, and as soon as you need to increase your skill, the performance of your application, you get just a friendly email reminder from Bubble. Hey, you're reaching 90% of your usage. Would you mind updating to the next plan? And with just one click of a button, you update for like, I don't know, $10 more, and boom, all your problems solved. You don't need to recheck, rebalance anything. And when you need to increase more, boom, with another like next plan upgrade, you get everything out of the box. So the same with security. I would say your app is, I would bet your app is more scalable if you go with a pre-built stack rather than scaling everything on your own.
Yeah, I think like we promoting Bubble a lot, and maybe we can switch to another platforms. For example, the Webflow. How they are working with the scalability. Is it scalable or yeah?
I would say that their approach is very similar to Bubble. It is all most of their plans are usage based. The more CMS collection items you have, and the more users you have, the more you need to pay to Webflow. But the general approach is exactly the same. You start with very little packages, like $20-$30 per website, and as your website grows, as you have more visitors and records, of course you need to pay more and more, but it's not like in $1,000. It can reach maybe 200 or so, but at that point you would probably have like millions or tens of millions of users, and probably you're earning some good revenue from that to be able to comfortably allow paying these high subscription options. So overall, it's not an issue. More likely, AWS will break your bank with wrong configuration and like thousands of dollar bills out of the blue. That happens quite regularly, as we see in like indie hackers community on Twitter very, very frequently. Like wrong configuration on AWS can really skyrocket your AWS bill, which will not happen with almost certainly will not happen with the no-code tool.
I would not agree at that point with you because, yeah, of course, like key to achieve this performance is to like selecting the right no-code tool, but the also important thing is to hire a good developer who had the experience on building with this tool. You still can get like a huge usage by just using like some weird workflows and actions on Bubble at the end. So so it's important to select to choose a good developer who will support you with that thing, and no tool good as he know himself.
And maybe you happen to know where you can find really good no-code developers?
Of course. So it's not promoting, they're not paying us, but there's an agency named Sommo.
Really?
Maybe you heard about they're from Ukraine.
I heard about them.
Yeah, and they're
really good. Really good.
Yeah, they're really good.
I love them.
So they started, the founders started from the traditional code development. Yeah, you have a t-shirt.
Yeah,
of course.
I happen to have a t-shirt.
And their founders started as that like traditional code development and then switched to the no-code stack, and they bring this whole experience, this whole knowledge to the no-code space and applying them to build like the cool, well-performed application. You can, by the way, check their blog on sommo.io/blog, and there's a ton of articles about the performance optimization, etc.
Yeah, that's definitely a game changer and a killer solution, I would say, and offer to be able to, whenever needed, to still by default leverage no-code and low-code stack by default for your projects. And in some cases, rare but still existent, plug-in custom plugins, code solutions, or workflows to complete your business needs and achieve your business objectives and have the benefits of both worlds. Definitely a powerful combination. I totally agree with you. Highly recommend. Go check out these guys at sommo.io. And we, of course, are not affiliated with them in any way. Yeah, guys, joking aside, we are both founders of Sommo.io, and it was a little bit of self-promotion. 300K, really?
Natively is my child.
Maybe when we finally become billionaires with no code, I'll get you the best suit on the market.
I was sitting and waiting when you will ask.
You can literally get everything. Can you get also like credit cards?